talking about something you may have experienced or may one day. That's having a dream pet. Instead of taking it as something sad, I hope this video will encourage you to have a dream and think of ways to make the wait fun. There may be all sorts of reasons that it's not the right time to get a specific pet right now. For example, maybe you want a large active dog but are in an apartment and want to wait until you have a big yard for him to play in. Maybe you're still at home or have a temporary roommate who is allergic. There are all sorts of reasons it makes sense to wait. In my case, I decided I wanted a dog about a year ago, but the pet family right now feels contentedly complete. All 5 pets mesh together pretty well and they're enough to take care of. One of the cats rules the roost, and I can't imagine what she would think about having a dog in the household. It just doesn't feel like the right time. But it can be good to take time in considering a new pet. I grew up in a cat family and I love cats, but I sometimes dreamed about having a dog. I went by cuteness. I remember wanting a Chow Chow, Siberian Husky, and Yorkshire Terrier at different times. I would eagerly get a care book, only to read it and think, wow, we are not a good fit. I've also thought over the years about having a chinchilla or turtle, and after reading books I realized that pet isn't a good fit for me. For example, I can't guarantee a cool house for a chinchilla, and I don't want to deal with a heat lamp for a turtle or tortoise. One time my parents approved my getting a turtle, but after reading a care book, I settled on a hamster. In the case of dogs, I realized that repeatedly looking at dogs' cuteness factor was not the right way to go, and I took online quizzes to find breed matches. Giving yourself time to research and talk yourself out of a pet may be disappointing, but it's actually a good thing. Research is very important, and you'll have time to read books, look at forums, find shelters, or in rare cases, perhaps breeders you trust, watch YouTube videos, and hopefully all of that preparing will be fun instead of sad and challenging. And if a pet isn't right for you, then that's okay. In fact, it's important to find that out before you have the pet. One way dreaming about a future pet is fun is that they may stay in the back of your mind at all times. For example, when I was in a bargain store, I saw a baby book type of book for dogs. It was a huge bargain and definitely worth getting. When a friend gave me a gift card, I used part of it to buy a dog care book. With your mind on the future pet, the anticipation itself can be enjoyable. I have filled this bin with things I've gotten for my dream dog. I already need a different bin. Of course, you don't want to go way too into it if you're still on the fence. I've spent, I think, under $10 so far in about a year's time. You might want to save some of the bigger expenses for when you're completely certain. If you're crafty, now is a great time to do some crafts, especially if you keep an eye out for bargains and sales. This was an easy craft that anyone who sews can quickly make. Take 1 yard of fabric, double it right sides together, sew around leaving a gap for turning, clip the corners, turn it right side out, ladder stitch open and close, and top stitch around to keep it flat. You could also get a yard of 2 fabrics, cut each in half, and make it different on either side and end up with 2 blankets. This was coincidentally close in appearance to liners I've made over the years for my guinea pigs. There's a link in the description to someone else's tutorial for those. That's something else you could make ahead of time if you want guinea pigs, research proper pet cage sizes, and want to make something tangible. This blanket could work for all sorts of pets, just not ones that get hot too easily because it's 2 layers thick. But it could be a blanket you use on your lap when holding guinea pigs, a blanket for cats to sit on, etc. And it's really fun to look at fleece and see what's available. The very first thing I made for my dream dog was a box. It helped a lot just to make the dream a little more tangible. This could be a place to put name ideas, activity and game ideas for your future pet, or savings for supplies and toys, or even savings for the pet, him or herself. I don't have step-by-step instructions for this, but we'll just explain what I did. I'm a product reviewer, and one of the things I reviewed came in an unfinished wood box with some designs pressed in related to the product in it. I sanded those off, leaving me with a plain box. You can find boxes, though different styles, in craft stores. Then I planned ahead with other supplies I could use and what I wanted it to look like when I was done. I added a wood finial and stained it and clear coated the box. Afterward, I added a metal clasp, feet, and hinges. But the biggest thing that helped make this a dream box was the dog outline. The dog applique isn't real metal. It was 3D printed and I painted it to fit in with the metal accents on the box. I'll put a link in the description to the dog shape in case you like it and have a 3D printer. However, you don't have to 3D print a shape. You could also draw or find clip art of an animal silhouette and then paint it on your box. Another positive thing about having a dream pet is that you're not rushing. I remember one time after a pet passed away, I was looking desperately for a cat. I wanted one right away. I dealt with 2 rescues I found challenging to deal with and had to give up on both before finding a good shelter. Another time I was set on having a long-haired cat, but I missed my cat who passed away so much that I was desperate to get one and ended up with Minnie, who I could tell was a short hair no matter what they said. I wanted a cat so much that I got her even though the shelter warned me her mom is wild. And despite the fact that she was so hyper herself, she had opened up her space suture and gotten an infection while in the care of the shelter. As much as I love Minnie, I rushed into getting her. Maybe now, for whatever reason, isn't the best time for the pet you want to have, but slowing things way down gives you time to do a lot of research and not feel rushed into making a decision. Having a pet to dream about may give you a future to really look forward to. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. It helps a lot. There are also other videos on the screen that you might enjoy. Bye!